Hey everyone, I'm Ashes,
And I'm Will.
and
And
this
this
is
is
Ashes
Ashes
and
and
Will
Will
Do
Do
Disney.
Disney. Each week, one of us will tell the other the history, facts, and stories behind the rides and attractions of Disney that have made special memories for generations.
Keep in mind that Ashes and Will Do Disney is not affiliated with or employed by the Walt Disney Company, and our views and opinions do not reflect theirs.
Now it's time to sit back, relax, and put on your ears because it's time for Ashes and Will Do Disney. Oh, hi, Ashes.
Oh, hey.
We're doing it again. We're back for our third episode in the Star Wars saga.
The Star Wars trilogy, per
Yep,
se.
per se.
So, well, that's good.
So we talked a little bit about the deal last week,
Oh,
and
yeah, the Star Wars deal.
yeah, we're going to be getting into attractions this week. But it sounds like you've got something for me to start off, though.
I do. So, I figured since you're talking about the attractions at the park, I would do some park trivia with you. This
Okay,
one's shorter, it's only 5 questions.
that's good because as I mentioned in the very first episode of our Star Wars trilogy, I'm a casual fan, not a diehard fan.
Well, it's not specific to Star Wars, it's just
Oh,
the
okay,
parks in general.
okay. I
Yeah.
thought we were doing Star Wars,
Yeah, no, just the parks in
just the
general.
parks in general. Okay,
Okay. Says, what is the name of the sailing ship that circles the rivers of America at Disneyland Park? Sailing Ship Columbia, Enterprise, Mekong Maiden, or Black Pearl?
the Maiden.
Let's find out. I have no clue. Nope. Sailing Ship Columbia.
That's actually what I was going to say at first, but I was like, that just sounds kind of like a generic name. So,
Well,
what's the sailing ship called? It's called the sailing ship.
should have gone with your gut.
Guess I should have gone with my gut on that one.
So, if you, sorry, you can sail a boat through the future of food production on this edutainment filled attraction.
Ooh, it's educational and fun.
Yeah, edutainment.
All right.
So, I mean, do I even have to read them? You should know what this is, well. Food for thought, health or high water, living with the land, or land of the living.
I mean, I had to make sure it's what I thought it was.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with living with the land, being that you've told me all about it.
Yep. Fun fact, as you drift along through Living with the Land, you'll learn how Epcot employs biotechnology, aquaculture, and integrated pest management to forge innovations in crop production.
Ooh.
Okay, there's an old boat dock in the land of Asia that's been repurposed for what kind of Disney theme park experience? Street performers, parades, face painting, or character greetings?
It's a boat dock?
Yeah, if you can't tell, it's a nautical themed quiz.
I can tell this, yeah. I'm going to go with character greetings.
Oh, yep, you got
Yes!
it. I had no clue. Fun fact, popularly referred to as Upcountry Landing, be on the lookout for Disney characters making appearances here from time to time, including such past favorites as Baloo and King Louie.
Oh.
In which Disney short did Minnie Mouse make her debut? Wild Waves, The Barn Dance, The Picnic, or Steamboat Willie?
Pretty sure it's Steamboat Willie.
Was she in there?
That's what I'm trying to think. I mean, I know what the barn dance is, but I'm pretty sure that was kind of the whole thing is Pete took her in Steamboat Willie.
It is Steamboat Willie.
Yes.
Yep. Fun fact, while Plain Crazy was produced first as a silent cartoon, it was not widely released until after Steamboat Willie, when it was given a full soundtrack, making Steamboat Willie Minnie Mouse's official debut.
Okay.
On which Disney Cruise Line ship
Oh,
can you find a statue of Mademoiselle Minnie Mouse? The dream, the fantasy, the magic, or the wonder? You should be able to eliminate two of these.
because I know Donald's the dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fantasy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I was like, we've only been on two of the ships.
I know.
She was
She
there.
was there, so I had to make sure that is what I remembered was seeing that statue in that lobby, in
Yeah.
that atrium.
Uh, you got terrific. 4 out of 5.
Hooray! That's 80%.
Mm, you could do better. Okay.
But could you?
Oh, this isn't about me, Will.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're lucky. The quizzes I give you, there are no right or wrong answers.
Oh, I know. That's good. We all know. So here's the thing with me and you is you will kick my butt every time if it is a trivia game,
Mm-hmm.
question anything. However, if it is a strategy game of any sort, you know I'll win.
Oh, I'm toasting strategy games.
Yeah, I love me a good strategy game. We played what is it? The Tower of Terror Clue.
Mm-hmm. I was close. I was right behind you. I had to eliminate one more thing. You just got to it before I did.
Still got
You
it.
still got it.
Okay, you said there was some stuff you wanted to share before you actually go into your episode.
Yeah, well, so we'll get to that. But first, let's kind of recap a little bit. We talked about the Disney acquisition in 2012 of Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
So you're still not a fan of George Lucas as a person?
No.
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 No. Fair enough. Fair enough. Again, I do agree with him that the new trilogy that Disney made was not great.
I mean, I don't think he cares about my opinions though, because
Probably not.
he has 4 billion,
He's got money.
little dollars to wipe his tears with.
Yeah,
so.
he's doing okay. Speaking of the Star Wars films, one of my favorite memories about the Star Wars films is not even going to see a Star Wars movie. It was when my dad took my sister and I to see Starship Troopers at the movie theater.
Okay.
And we're getting a little bit close to Christmas time. It's still a couple months out. But my sister, a little bit prior to us seeing that movie, had called my dad and asked him, hey, they're going to release a box set of the Star Trek movies, all remastered. Do you want me to get it for you for Christmas? My dad, being a fan of Star Trek, said, yeah,
Right.
why not?
I grew in a house with a Star Trek fan, watched a lot of them.
Yeah. So my dad was like, absolutely, that sounds cool. Fast forward to this day, we're standing in line waiting to go in and see Starship Troopers. They had released the Star Wars trilogy in a box set, remastered. And my dad is telling my sister, oh, when I get back from this, I have other movies I need to watch.
Okay.
My sister is a little inquisitive and asks, well, what do you need to watch? He goes, well, I just bought the Star Wars trilogy in a box set. It's all remastered. They just put it out.
Uh-oh.
My sister yells in this big crowd of people, darn it, Dad. But she didn't say darn.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And my dad is looking at her like, what? What did I do? And my sister goes, I called you and asked you if you wanted me to buy you this Star Wars trilogy set. And I remember being there for that phone call, so I could back my dad up on this. My dad goes, no, you said Star Trek. Those are two very different things.
Very different.
Very different things. So to my sister, if you do listen to this episode, sorry I'm putting you on blast there, but that's one of my favorite Star Wars memories.
I love it. I feel like plenty of people have made that mistake. Like if you've never seen them, like it's star something.
There's
so I
a
can
star in
see
the
where
beginning of it,
people,
yeah.
can very easily mix them up. But then once you know, I mean, even very little about the two, you know which one is which.
You know which one's which, and it's a big thing. And it was a simple misspeak by my sister because she knows the difference between the two.
Yeah.
She just misspoke and said Star Trek instead of Star Wars. So my dad went and bought the Star Wars set because he was expecting a Star Wars box set from my
I
sister.
was going to say, I don't remember a Star Trek box set.
No. But that's what my dad was expecting. Not Star Wars, but Star Trek. So
Whoops.
he thought he was in the clear buying the trilogy.
I guess she had to go buy a new Christmas present.
Yeah, she did. It did get returned, to my knowledge. So, Okay, so we know that a big portion of this podcast is we're looking at the attractions at the parks.
Yeah.
We've done 2 episodes so far about Star Wars. We've talked about the history of the franchise. We've talked about how Disney bought Star Wars. We've got to talk about attractions of Star Wars in the Disney parks.
Yeah. I know very little about the attractions at the park. Um, my work wife, Sonia, as I often refer to on here, her and I went on one of the Star Wars
You went on
rides.
Smuggler's Run,
Cool. It
the
literally,
Millennium Falcon.
yeah, I couldn't have even told you that, but we did go on it, and I wasn't a fan.
I
It
know you
was
weren't a fan of it, but
very
you've done more
rocky
Star Wars rides than I have.
because I've done one.
You've done one. That's one more than I've ever done
I
at the
don't even
parks.
know how many Star Wars rides there are at the parks.
Well, we'll talk about some of the things to do there that are Star Wars related.
So I know you can make droids
Yep, you can.
for a lot of dollars.
Droids, lightsabers,
Yeah.
things like that. So
So
let's
I'm
dive in a little
interested
bit
to,
more.
yeah, hear what you've got.
So the big thing we'll talk about is Star Tours. That's the
Okay.
main attraction at Disney. And there's another little Disney memory here. My next door neighbor, they did Disney trips a lot as a kid. As we mentioned in the first episode, I didn't go to Disney until I was adult for the
Yeah.
first time. But my neighbors went, and one time they came back, and my friend had brought me back a Star Tours button. It had the Star Tours logo on it. It glowed in the dark.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so one day he knocks on my door and says, "Hey, come outside and bring your Star Tours button." I'm thinking
Okay.
he just wants me to bring it out so he could admire the gift he brought me.
Sure.
So I go in and I get it and I meet him out front. And I'm like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And he like reaches up and grabs my shirt. And again, sorry, I'm putting him on blast if he ever listens to this, but it's
I
just
don't know if he ever will,
I don't
though,
know
in
if he
all
ever will,
fairness.
but if he does, just know I look back at this memory as a funny memory. So he reaches on my shirt and pulls off the button. And I ask him, I go, "What are you doing? Why are you taking my button?" And he goes, "This actually wasn't meant for you. I brought it back for someone else, but my mom told me to give it to you." And he took it
Ah,
back inside.
what?
Yeah,
He just janked your toy back.
completely janked. It wasn't a toy, it was a
Or
glow in the dark
button.
button, but completely took my Star Tours button back. And I'm shocked. And I did what any furious kid would do.
You ran and told your mommy.
I told my mommy. So she called my next door neighbor's mom, let him know what happened. He comes out, knocks on the door, tells me to come out again. So I come and he throws the button at me and says, "Here's your stupid pin back," and walks back inside.
Oh,
We moved on from it pretty quick. I think we were playing again the next day. So again, it sounds like this big old dramatic thing, but I look back on it as a funny memory for
That's-
Star Tours.
you gotta love kids. You know, they're just so like, there's no sugar coating things. They're
No.
just put it all out there. Like,
The
yeah.
things that get kids riled up. A button that glows in the dark.
Oh, I know, but at least you guys moved past it pretty
Quick.
fast.
Pretty quick. So let's talk a little more about Star Tours. On May 20th, 2011, Disney Studios reopened Star Tours The Adventure Continues, which is also known as Star Tours 2.
Okay.
It replaced the original Star Tours that opened in 1987, and it represented the culmination of 13 years of work done by Imagineers. They had spent this time analyzing the prequel trilogies to figure out how to incorporate those ideas to update the experience.
Okay.
So we're looking at episodes 1, 2, and 3 to start getting ideas.
Okay, but in addition to still having stuff from 4, 5,
The
and
original
6.
trilogy,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, they're looking at the prequel trilogies, episodes 1, 2, and 3 to make their updates.
Gotcha.
But we have to understand what the original attraction was in order to appreciate what the Imagineers had to do to change the ride.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I don't even know what this ride is about.
I didn't either until very recently.
Okay.
So the original attraction is a 3D ride about a Star Wars vacation that goes wrong.
So like, you put on like some 3D glasses kind of thing?
I think it was like goggles, essentially. So George Lucas took a visit to the parks, and he asked the Imagineers what they had been working on. And they told him they had been working on a flight simulator.
Okay.
So Lucas wanted to collaborate to incorporate Star Wars characters.
I mean, of course he did.
Yeah, of course. So construction of the attraction started in 1986, and it had both the Star Wars and the Disney brand attached. It cost $32 million to make, and Disney once had to operate for 60 straight hours to keep up with the popularity of the ride.
What?
That was a little factoid I found. They had to operate for 60 straight hours just to keep up with the demand for people wanting to go on it.
So, like, there were so many people in line when they closed that they just stayed.
My guess is they just kept it going here. Not necessarily if there were just so many people in line, but they just kept going so people could just keep coming in and going.
Literally, like, 3 a.m. on the Star Wars
That's my
ride.
understanding. Again, maybe not everything is always true. It's exaggerated, but
That's still crazy.
it's that popular of a ride. After about 10 years, the ride started to lose its charm, and the guests were wanting an updated ride. And in 1998, Lucas's people told Disney that he was working on Episode 1, and that would give them something new to update Star Tours. We're going to watch these movies again here pretty soon, just so you can start understanding a little bit of what we're talking about.
Okay.
But the pod race was a big scene in Episode 1, and it was going to be...
I do remember that.
You remember the pod race?
Yeah.
I mean, they even made a video game for Nintendo 64.
I was going to say there was a video game.
Yep, I had the pod racer video game. It stunk. It was such a bad game. The controls were so bad on it.
That's funny.
But they figured the pod race was going to be the key to revising the simulator. So Disney sketched out a pod racer simulator that would still be a 3D ride, and it planned on making the pod race the main theme of Star Tours 2.
Okay.
However, The Phantom Menace would not prove to be a popular movie, and now Disney had a ride design based on something that didn't resonate with the fans.
Well, that's not going to work too well.
So nothing on the new ride had actually gone into production until October of 2003, because Disney decided they wanted to see how the new trilogy ended before making any updates.
I mean, I feel like that's pretty valid, though.
Agreed. He's got 3 more movies that are coming out here, so let's see what he's got before we commit to something.
I mean, yeah.
The obstacle after the prequel trilogy ended was that the Imagineers couldn't pick a favorite story from the movie to centralize the new attraction around.
Hey.
Because they couldn't pick a favorite spot, they came up with the storytelling slot machine.
What?
So you remember the Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yes.
So there's multiple ways for a story to go, and you can go different places and for different things to end. That's what this ride was going to be. It was going to be a Choose Your Own Adventure ride.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. That sounds pretty cool because then you can ride the ride like so many times and have a bunch of different...
That's exactly what the idea was going to be. It would be a way to give fans multiple visits to the attraction with the ability to experience something different each time.
Yeah, that's cool.
The premise was going to be that it would be a 5-part story. Part 1, you take off in a ship. Part 2, you journey to a new land.
Okay.
Part 3, there's a detour caused by shenanigans.
Oh, shenanigans.
Good old shenanigans, they always cause detours. Part 4, you transition away from the detour. And Part 5 is the main event that would take up the bulk of the ride time.
Okay.
This was considered to be a revolutionary idea for its time.
I mean, yeah.
Here's a breakdown of the options in the different scenarios. There'd be 4 takeoff possibilities, 6 travel possibilities, 12 detour possibilities,
Whoa.
an undetermined amount of detour transitions, and at least 12 more main events.
Whoa.
The original vision wanted the ride to have 3,456 variations.
Holy cow.
That's a lot. They realized that concept was too ambitious.
I mean, yeah.
Yep. So new 3D and digital technologies would be required that weren't feasible for that time. Not to mention they'd have to film another 30 to 40 ride simulations, and that would have taken a lot of time. So they settled on 54 variations, which at the time was 53 more than any other simulator attraction.
I was going to say 50-something, still quite a bit.
Yeah, every other simulator attraction just had, it's going to be the same ride every time.
Yeah.
We talked about the Disney acquisition. So this is where Imagineers introduced elements from The Force Awakens into the attraction.
Okay.
For example, BB-8, the little rolly ball droid.
Yeah.
So that way you know who it is.
I mean, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So BB-8 is one of the messengers in the ride.
Okay.
And for a while after The Force Awakens came out, Jakku was the starting point for the takeoff. But after Rogue One came out, they re-implemented various starting points. So when Force Awakens came out, they just had one spot, but then they put out Rogue One and re-implemented various starting points again.
Oh, okay. I get it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Update.
Exactly. And anytime a new movie is released, Imagineers add a variation to the ride. And that delivers a new experience more than any other attraction in the park.
Okay.
So how do they add the variations? Imagineers have to pick the right combo of favorites in the Star Wars universe. The current iteration of the ride has 2 intros. There's an interaction with Darth Vader.
Dark Vader.
There's an interaction with Darth Vader and a stormtrooper, or an interaction with Han Solo. From there, the ride randomizes travel to Tatooine, Hoth, or Kashyyyk. The addition of Kashyyyk gave the Imagineers more creative freedom to design, since it was not a world that is seen much in the films.
So this is one where, like, the riders aren't picking anything.
Correct.
It's just all
It's randomized.
random.
Yes.
Okay.
But that gives you the possibility of having a new experience every time with how many options there are. And now remember, too, you brought it up in one of the quizzes you gave me. Kashyyyk is the Wookiee homeworld.
Okay.
It's briefly seen in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, so that's why they had a lot more creative freedom to do a bit more with that land, and because it wasn't featured so much, they could make it up what they wanted it to be.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So after arriving at one of the 3 planets, you either interact with Yoda, Admiral Akbar, or Princess Leia, effectively creating 9 different branches of interaction.
Okay.
2 of the interactions go better than the other one. Then finally, you travel to either Coruscant, Naboo, or the Death Star.
Cool.
Updates for the Disney era. 2 new scenarios were added for the first part of the ride. Now, instead of Darth Vader, you might interact with Kylo Ren, Darth Vader's grandson, and instead of Han Solo, you might see Rey, the protagonist of the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
During the second phase of the ride, Jakku is added as a destination, and BB-8, Poe Dameron, and Maz Kanata are added possibilities. These additions, while small, double the amount of experiences you could have.
So we're up to over 100.
That's quite a bit.
So wait, what is this ride though? Like you're sitting.
It's a flight simulator.
Okay. So
I've never been on it.
You just like.
I've never been on it.
Huh. Okay.
So the final stage of the ride has a section called Crate, in which you interact with Poe, a pilot in the Resistance of the sequel trilogy, and his fight with the First Order. Obviously, they had to film new parts for the updates. They met with George Lucas more than they did when designing the first Star Tours. Lucas proposed the idea of getting the image of a random guest and inserting them into the story. I mean, what diehard Star Wars fan doesn't want to be part of a Star Wars story?
So, like, this is someone, like, walking on at, like,
it's a writer.
In that moment?
Yeah, it's a writer. They get an image of the writer and put him in the Star Wars story.
So it's a different writer each...
That's the idea, yes.
Wow, I bet they love that.
Yeah, because you think about it, let's look at Star Trek again. When you look at the Star Trek experience that was part of Las Vegas...
Yeah.
They kind of do that, but they don't pick a specific person.
Well, okay, but look at the Monsters, Inc. ride that we went on for our honeymoon.
Yes.
Like, just having, at the very end of it, them acknowledge that we were newlyweds because, like, we had our newlywed ears on and how cool that was. Roz
acknowledged us as being married.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, to actually have you yourself be put into it is pretty cool.
And the Star Trek experience, you're interacting with the Klingons, they beam you up and they say, one of you is a descendant of Picard, but they don't tell you who, they don't take a picture of anybody. So yeah, they're actually putting a fan in the Star Wars story.
Wow.
So they had to film all the new scenarios with a group of stunt actors to bring it all to life. And the original revision happened before the Disney acquisition. So it was a big deal that Disney was allowed to film so much Star Wars footage themselves for the ride.
Gotcha.
Because they didn't own anything yet, and George Lucas was letting them film all this. They also had to improve the pre-show. Fast passes, we love them. They get you on a ride faster.
Now they're not like a thing.
They're not so much a thing anymore. But at the time, fast passes actually caused issues for the Star Tours ride. The ride is based on show times, and adhering to those show times helped Imagineers control the pre-show experience. So, you know, like a pre-show is when you're walking through, you're standing in line and things
Yeah.
happen. Like you can see artifacts and stuff, or there's music and
Yeah.
things like that. But once fast passes became a thing, that made it so people without fast passes were waiting in line longer, and the pre-show wasn't accommodating the time in line.
Okay. And I'm
So,
sure the wait times were long.
right, it's making the wait times longer because people are just walking on with their fast pass, which always slows down the people without fast passes.
Yeah.
So Imagineers shifted and accommodated the pre-show to have more entertainment, so that even if guests had to wait an hour to get on the ride, there was enough entertainment to distract them from the wait. They were doing a pilot replacement. The original pilot in Star Tours was Rex, voiced by Paul Rubens, aka Pee Wee Herman.
What?
They wanted to replace Rex with Ace. But George Lucas looked at Ace compared to Rex and said that the difference between the two was so vast that they needed to come up with a different option.
Okay.
So instead of making a new character, they brought in an old favorite. C-3PO was the implemented new pilot.
Oh, I support that.
That's okay. But the Imagineers were also really attached to Ace, so they added him as a character to the pre-show. There's a lot of hidden pieces and Easter eggs in the pre-show of Star Tours.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Disney loves their Easter eggs.
Right, so you'll like this. There's some of Wally's prized possessions.
Oh, I do like that.
You love Wally.
I love Wally. Now I want to go on this ride just to find Wally.
Just to find the Wally stuff. There are some of Captain EO's robots. Captain EO was a science fiction film they did that starred Michael Jackson.
I never heard of it, but cool.
There is a representation of Madame Leota.
Really?
Yep.
That's cool.
There's a Disney fireworks show.
Cool.
Of course, there's hidden Mickeys.
Obviously.
We've talked a little bit about Star Trek. That's not on accident. That's not just to compare.
Yeah.
There is a Starship Enterprise hidden in there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
There's one enhancement that is subtle, but it's brought a lot of joy to many fans. So I don't know if you remember in the original trilogy, there's a part where Han Solo gets frozen in a carbonite slab.
I do.
Okay. There's a carbonite prison slab containing Jar Jar Binks.
Ha!
There's other attractions, not just Star Tours, when it comes to Disney parks. So there were Star Wars weekends.
Yeah.
They ran from 1997 to 2015 at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
And it was an annual festival on specific dates from May to June.
Yeah.
Since 2007, the parks included the Jedi Training Academy, where kids were selected to learn the teachings of the Jedi, present at Hollywood Studios and the Tomorrowland Terrace at Disneyland.
Okay.
Many of the Disney characters appear in Star Wars costumes. So there's a Jedi Mickey, Minnie was dressed as Leia, Donald was dressed as a stormtrooper, and Goofy was Darth Vader.
Cool.
There was also an R2MK, which was a Mickey stylized droid.
Okay.
This was discontinued in 2015 when Disney began construction on their Star Wars themed land.
Oh, okay.
The discontinuation was due to the fact that there would be a larger Star Wars presence in the park on a daily basis.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, we don't need to do specific Star Wars weekends when it's something you can go see every day now, as long as you're in the park.
Is all of the Star Wars, like Star Tours, is that in Hollywood Studios?
That's my understanding.
Okay, because I've been to the parks a good few times, but clearly have not paid attention to
We
Star
also just
Wars
haven't done a
stuff?
lot of Star Wars stuff.
So I just don't even know where it's at. I mean, I know the new Star Wars land is
Yeah.
in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, of course, you got to go there. I'm excited because I've yet to go.
Yeah, it's kind of by Pixar. Well, it's not Pixar Pier in Florida, but
Yeah.
the whole Pixar land.
Let's talk about the original Jedi Training Academy. Ran from 2006 to 2015. It opened October 1st, 2006 at Disneyland. 16 kids signed up at the beginning of the day to be younglings and participate in a training session led by a Jedi Master.
Oh, I'm sure this is so many little kids' dreams coming true.
Yeah, and we've seen it before too. When we walk up when we were waiting in line for the Nemo submarine, they had that going on in Tomorrowland.
Oh, okay.
So kids get training lightsabers and Jedi robes.
Cool.
During the training, Darth Vader and Darth Maul would show up with 2 stormtroopers in tow. The kids would choose to fight with Maul or Darth Vader until each one had fought one of the villains. And after everyone got a chance to fight, the villains would retreat off stage because they were outnumbered. At the end, the kids gave the robes and lightsabers back. Boo.
For real.
Yoda congratulated them for becoming Padawans, and they receive a diploma.
Aww.
It opened at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Was this just a free thing? Like, as long as you were there early enough?
That's my understanding, as long as you get there early enough to sign up for it.
Dang, what if you were kid number 17?
Right. So it closed in Florida on October 5th, 2015, and November 15th of 2015 in California.
Okay.
That was because they updated it, so now they have Jedi Training Trials of the Temple.
Okay.
This opened on December 1st in 2015 at Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
It's a successor to the Jedi Training Academy. It added characters from the show Star Wars Rebels. It's present at Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, and Hong Kong Disneyland.
Oh, wow.
A group of children go through training with a Jedi Master and Apprentice. The children use the Force to open the door to the temple, and Darth Vader comes out, followed by the Seventh Sister, which is a character tasked by Vader to hunt down the rebels and any surviving Jedi.
Okay.
After each kid has a chance to fight, the villains turn to retreat, but then turn around as if they're ready to fight again. So the Jedi Master helps the children force push them back into the temple.
Aw, I bet the kids have so much fun with it.
Oh, I bet. It's not over, though.
Oh.
Because then Darth Maul comes out and gets into a fight with the apprentice, who had been trying to stay out of the fight. But then Yoda talks to the apprentice in a pep talk, and the apprentice fights and defeats Maul. But as the apprentice is about to kill him, the trainees tell him not to. The apprentice spares his life, and Maul walks back into the temple. But then Darth Maul comes back, ready to fight again, but the trainees once again force push him back.
I mean, what if the trainees were like, nah, dude, it's cool, you can just take him out?
So there's actually a video out there of when Darth Vader shows up at the Jedi Training Academy, and one of the kids who signed up for it, kneels down, ready to, serve Darth Vader. I was proud of that kid. It's not my kid, but I'm proud of that kid. Because, again, you know me, I like the villains.
I know, you love your villains.
Again, the trainees turn in their gear and get their diploma.
Boo.
On February 21st, 2016, Kylo Ren replaced Darth Maul at Hollywood Studios, then again on March 5th, 2016 at Disneyland. There's also a show that's known as the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular.
Ooh.
It opened on June 17th, 2016 at Hollywood Studios. It's a nighttime show based on the films. It features fireworks, projection mapping, fire, lasers, fog, and searchlights.
Ooh.
During the show, Star Wars imagery was projected onto the Great Movie Ride, now Mickey's Runaway Railway exterior.
Okay.
There's also a museum exhibit, which I think this one would have been cool. You probably would have enjoyed this one. It's called Star Wars, Where Science Meets Imagination.
Well, if there's science, we know I'm down.
Right. It ran from 2005 to 2014. It opened up on October 19th, 2005, and it opened at the Museum of Science in Boston. It was a traveling exhibition, and it featured props and costumes used in the films, and it focused on the science behind the story.
That's cool.
Right. There was even a companion book released with the exhibit, and it closed on March 23rd, 2014. We have the Star Wars Launch Bay. This is a quick little one. It opened November 16th, 2015 at Disneyland. It's an interactive walkthrough with meet and greets.
Okay.
Galaxy's Edge. This is the big one. It's the Star Wars theme land.
Okay.
It was announced on August 15th, 2015. Construction began on April 14th, 2016. Hollywood Studios, it opened up on August 29th, 2019. And the Disneyland version opened on May 31st, 2019. It's set within the village of the Black Spire Outpost on Batuu. And Imagineers started to develop the concept of a Star Wars themed land in the early 2010s. It was initially intended to be based on the original trilogy. it would have replaced the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular and Sounds Dangerous attractions. In 2014, all of the ideas and plans for a Star Wars themed land were scrapped and delayed until the release of the sequel trilogy and the anthology movies.
I mean, I get it.
Right, they were at that point now where they bought it, so they want to make sure it's
Well, yeah,
concurrent with what they're doing.
I mean, that's a lot of time and money and effort to put in just to be like, well, now we need to update it again.
Again, right. When the idea for the new land was announced, Bob Iger stated that there would be many inhabitants that included humans, aliens, and droids. It was announced that the name of the land would be Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in July of 2017 at the D23 Expo. It was also revealed the Disneyland version would open first. In November of 2017, it was revealed that it would be set on the planet of Batuu, which appears in the Star Wars novel Thrawn Alliances. In May of 2018, it was stated that it would be set at the Black Spire Outpost, which was briefly mentioned in Solo, a Star Wars story. The Disneyland version was dedicated on May 29, 2019. Guests included Bob Iger, George Lucas, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker,
Thank you.
Harrison Ford, Han Solo,
Hey, I know Harrison Ford.
and Billy D. Williams, who was Lando Calrissian. And it opened to the public on May 31st and was so popular that a virtual queuing system was put in place.
That's crazy.
Rides that are in there are Smuggler's Run. That's what you did. It's the Millennium Falcon Flight Simulator ride.
Yeah.
And I know you didn't like it because it's kind of a team effort, isn't it?
Well, so there's 6 people per, I don't know, spaceship, whatever you want to call it. And there's 3 different positions or jobs that you can have.
Right.
I think the front 2 people are like the pilots, and then there's 2 people that are like, I don't know, the gunners, like they shoot.
They shoot the guns.
Yeah, and then I honestly can't remember what the other 2 were. I think Sonia and I were the other 2 also. I don't even remember what we did. It was something lame, but we sat in the back, and it was just like very, like it just kind of shook you around.
Sure.
And it just, I don't know. I was really happy. We just did single rider line for it, and we still happened to get on a ship together, which was nice.
That's nice.
So, but I was really glad we just did single rider line because it just wasn't that fun.
Gotcha.
But I'm sure if you're a big fan, it's the experience and you love it, but
Yeah. For you. That's
Yeah.
okay. A newer ride, Rise of the Resistance. This ride is ridiculously popular. Like, I see people trying to get in the virtual queue for this and just can't do it.
what is it?
So it's a dark ride,
Okay.
and it put guests in the middle of a fight between the First Order and the Resistance.
Okay.
And so essentially it's interacting with Resistance members, and Kylo Ren is there, stormtroopers are there, and you're basically in the middle of their fight.
Are you in like a dune buggy type
Yeah,
thing?
it's a dark ride, so you're
just-
sitting in your little cart and you're going through.
Okay.
You do get out and interact a little bit at some points, from what I understand. I really want to go on it if we can, because I've heard the description of the ride, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it justice. But it sounds like one of those rides that even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's pretty fun.
I mean, I'll try it.
Well, you're going to have to.
Oh, okay.
There's also a plethora of shops and restaurants at Galaxy's Edge. The Disneyland version of Galaxy's Edge was named one of Time Magazine's World Greatest Places in 2019.
Whoa.
Initially, attendance at Galaxy's Edge was leaving the rest of the park virtually empty.
Oh, man.
And
I'm
I
gonna
saw...
go check out the rest of the park then.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of my thought, 'cause
Actually,
I saw it.
I do remember when
Yeah.
that happened because I have the apps on my phone, and someone had posted about it online about how the rest of the parks were like empty, and I
Yep.
went on there and it's like summertime,
Yeah.
and the waits in all of Magic Kingdom were like nothing because everyone was over in California Adventureland.
Yeah, people were posting videos of them walking through the park with no one around because they were all at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, it sounds great. It's like this one time I went to Costco on Super Bowl Sunday. There was like no one
And
there.
there was just nobody there.
Yeah, not the same thing, but I was still pretty excited.
It's a nice feeling. So an upcoming attraction is called the Galactic Star Cruiser. It's scheduled to open in the spring of 2022, and it's a luxury hotel. In April of 2017, Disney hired a third party to survey guests to get a pulse on interest in a Star Wars hotel. It's a 2-night immersive experience,
What?
and the idea is that it's a cruise in space. And I actually did read that Disney had to disclose they're not actually taking guests into space. They're just making you feel like you are.
Oh, phew.
So it's like you're on a Star Cruiser ship, and you're looking out the windows, and the windows are going to have what looks like space outside. It won't
Okay.
just be looking out a window.
But it's not literally 2 nights long?
No, it's a 2-night thing.
Like, literally, you're in this hotel for 2 nights.
As far as I know, you can travel, but you're staying there for 2 nights. And the idea is it's like a cruise. Guests all check in and check out at the same time.
But it's in the park, or not in the park, like near the park complex.
Yeah, it's near there. There's still transportation to the parks, but you're staying 2 nights in here, and it's an immersive experience. Because it's like you're on a cruise. Ready to hear the cost of it?
I am sure it's quite large.
I'm going to tell you, this is something that we will probably never do. It sounds awesome and really fun, but for 2 nights, 2 guests per cabin is $1,209 per guest per night, or $4,809 for a total of the voyage.
$5,000 for 2 nights
For
in this
2
hotel.
nights, for 2 people. 3 guests per cabin is $889 per guest per night, or $5,299 for the total voyage.
Oh, I mean, you could basically throw in a third person there for, compared to the 2 people one.
Right.
For not
4
much.
guests per cabin is $749 per guest per night, or $5,999 for the total voyage.
Wow.
So those are our Star Wars attractions. What do you think?
Well, I think I can feel a lot better about the money we spend on our Disney cruises
Like an
now.
actual cruise? Not just a pretend one for 2 nights?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm down to, check out the whatever.
Yeah, I really want to try and do Rise of the Resistance. It sounds like a really
and
fun
Star
ride.
Tours is still there.
As far as I know, so we can definitely go take a look at some things, see what we can figure out here. I do remember when we went to Disney World that first time with my family.
Yeah.
And we were in Hollywood Studios. And I'm pretty sure we were over by the Indiana Jones stunt stuff.
Okay.
And my brother-in-law, who's a big Star Wars fan, he's actually probably more mad about the new Star Wars movies than I am. I'm more disappointed. I'm not mad about them.
I'm sure. I know he was not a fan.
He's just unhappy with it and disowned anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But while we were in Hollywood Studios, we saw this whole setup, and it was like, come meet these Star Wars characters. And it had all sorts of actors in there. It had the kid who was playing young Boba Fett in the new trilogy. It had the guy who was playing Jango Fett, who all the stormtroopers were cloned off of. And then he later on plays Boba Fett in The Mandalorian.
Gotcha.
But they had all these Star Wars characters. I think Jimmy Smits was there too. He was in there. And we were looking at the fact that there was just nobody around. And my brother-in-law and
I do remember this. I think we went up and asked someone about it.
Well, my brother-in-law and I did.
Yeah.
We did that. We were like, this is super cool. Like, they're getting ready to do all these Star Wars characters. Ray Park was there, too. He played Toad in the X-Men movies. He was Darth Maul.
Yeah.
So we were really excited for this. We're like, there's no one here.
Yeah, I remember
this starts in 45 minutes, and there's nobody here. We just stumbled on the best-kept secret of the day in the park.
Right.
And so my brother-in-law and I, we walk up there, and there's a guy standing there, and we wave to him and say hello, and he goes, "Can I help you?" And we were like, well, there's no one here, so we're going to be first in line to meet the Star Wars actors. This was my first, experience with how, Comic-Con works, essentially.
Yeah.
Because he looks at us and goes, cool, do you have tickets? And we
What?
were like, well, yeah, well, obviously we have tickets we got in the park today, didn't we?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, did you buy tickets to come to the event today? And we were like, oh, you have to buy tickets. And he's like, yeah, this is a whole separate event. So it's not only do you have to pay to get in the park, you also had to pay for tickets to meet the Star Wars actors.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how Comic-Con works. You have to pay to get in, then
I
you have
was
to pay
gonna
to meet the
say it's
celebrities.
like Comic-Con, like, and the cost to meet them is
It's
absurd.
absurd. So that was why there was no one there yet, because all the people who had bought tickets didn't have to be there yet. But we were all excited because no one was there. We were like, oh my gosh, we're going to be first in line to meet all these characters. And
Hooray!
no, that got squashed pretty fast.
I do remember seeing the characters there from kind of like afar, and you
Yep,
guys asked,
we
and I
did. We
just knew
walked
it
by
got
and saw them.
squashed.
But yeah, there's our trilogy of the Star Wars saga and how it all came to Disney. What do you think?
I think it was cool. I think you did a good job with it. I liked learning about the toys. I love learning about like the acquisition and that kind of stuff, like the politics essentially
Right.
behind all the anything Disney. I think is just super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If I had the attention span and time, I would totally read Disney War. So,
It's a commitment.
yeah,
It took me a few months to read that
well,
book.
because it's what, 900 pages or
It's a
something?
few hundred pages, but it's really
Well, it's
small
thick and
print.
small.
So,
Yeah. So I'm excited for you to cover parts of it on the podcast because
mhm.
I just think it's so interesting.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, the rides sound cool. And I'm sure there's Star Wars fans who are listening to this. And
they're cringing at you a little
yeah,
bit.
absolutely. Sorry, guys.
All
But
right.
I'll try it out. I'll give it a fair shot with watching the movies.
We'll watch the movies and we're going to hit some rides up when we go.
Sounds good.
That's it for this week's episode of Ashes and Will Do Disney.
Don't forget we need your mouse tales. If you have a funny, weird, exciting, or just a favorite Disney memory, send it to ashesandwilldodisney@gmail.com so we can read them on the show.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Ashes and Will Do Disney. This is a public group to follow. We're also on YouTube at Ashes and Will Do Disney.
Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening, and have a magical day.